Welcome to Beyond Analytics, yet another podcast on retail and analytics, data, AI, and beyond. Our guest today is Uttam Kumar, who is a retail technology leader, and we'll be talking about hyper personalization and AI. Welcome to the podcast, Uttam. Do you want to give a brief introduction about yourself before we start?
Absolutely. Thank you, Abhijit. It's my pleasure to be here. For your audience, my name is Uttam Kumar, and I've spent almost 18 years in retail technology space. I focus mainly on driving transformation and innovation for some of the industry's leading brands. My expertise spans across areas like point of sale systems, payments, and customer experience. Throughout my career, I have been particularly passionate about leveraging technology to create more meaningful and effective interactions between retailers and their customers, which naturally brings me to this topic of hyper personalization and AI.
That's interesting, actually, right? And when I reached out to you, right, you also mentioned you have written a newsletter about it, and I went through that newsletter, and it was quite interesting, right? Probably let's start with that, right? And you have been a strong advocate about hyper personalization. Do you want to talk about it a bit as to what it is, why it is needed, or probably touch upon the fact that what different it is from the traditional personalization efforts that we have been seeing into the retail space?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let's first talk about what is traditional personalization, right? So for decades, retailers have relied on a very basic method, which we call RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary analysis. This is like segmenting customers into groups based on how recently they have bought, how often they, and how much they spent. We would then create a generalized campaign for these customers, like loyal customers get X offer, or lapsed customers, which are not very frequent, they get Y offer. These approaches involve very simple rule-based engines. Like if customer buys product A, recommend them product B. You are buying shirt, okay, I will recommend you jeans or a pant. So these are effective during those time, but they treated customers as groups, not individuals. So when it comes to hyper personalization, I actually want to start with showing you a very small clip from a 2002 movie, Minority Report, if that's okay with you. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you? So that was it. Did you see what was it about? So,
Right, right.
you saw when Tom Cruise walked into that store, there was a camera. They scanned his eyes, and they immediately identified this particular person has walked into the store. They greeted him with their name, and they were actually saying things like, "Would you like to shop in that area or whatever?" based on your history. So now this is exactly what we are calling hyper personalization. We are moving from segmented approach to a truly individual approach. It is about delivering highly relevant, contextual, and often predictive experience and offers to each customers in real time across all touch points. This was the case wherein Tom Cruise walked into the store. But in hyper-personalization, we are not looking for one channel. It's like whether you go to online or a store or engaging through app. Now, why it is needed? Simply put, customer expectations have evolved dramatically over the period of time. Nowadays, we have so many choices and information that if you are sending generic messages to the customers, they often get ignored. I'm sure everybody gets hundreds of offers every day from different retailers. And if not, if I'm incorrect, 99% you're just probably just going in spam or you're deleting them. So the effort that retailers are putting into creating these customer segments, creating offers for them, sending it across to them, different channels, SMS, emails, whatever, the output of that is very low. So that is why we are moving into hyper personalization mode. Now, from customer's perspective, we started thinking from customer. Customers today expect brands to understand their unique preferences, their current context, and even anticipate their next need as well, right? It is about building a deeper, more valuable relationship by making every interaction feel custom tailored, which reduces friction and increases the perceived value from customer perspective.
That's interesting, actually, right? And I was kind of heading towards that a bit. So you spoke about individual, right? In hyper personalization, in your experience, do you feel you still have those segments or micro segments, or do you feel it's much more individual perspective, like say a one person micro segment, or do you feel there are still micro segments, maybe hundreds and not millions, or is it much more okay, here is an individual and here is a very much curated offer that we are sending to that individual?
There are, it depends on how you are looking at it. Okay, we are looking from individual perspective, but yes, if out of your 100 customer, five are falling into one type, similar type of customers, then yes, they will probably get the similar kind of offers. So if you look from that perspective, yes, there are still segments, but the those segments, I think we still have to talk about how we are doing this hyper personalization, because in the old days we used to create those rules how we are creating those segments, but with hyper personalization we want to leverage artificial intelligence and let it look at the data, customer data, and identify those patterns which we as a human being are not able to identify, and create those segments. So instead of having those three segments that I talk about, RFM, there will be hundreds of different segments that AI is going to create, and customers will, yes, they will fall into those segments, but they, at the end of the day, this would be very personalized offers or suggestions that they would be getting rather than just generic suggestions.
That's interesting, and good that you got the AI aspect into the mix, right? And that was my next question. The predictive part of it. Yes, you have. Let's take the same Tom Cruise example where the AI model recommended him a tank top, but what about the predictive part of it? Now, can we take this hyper personalization into a predictive hyper personalization where we start predicting that maybe this person is intending or will intend to buy or will buy a particular piece of apparel maybe next month, next week, or even tomorrow? Does hyper, my question is, my first question is, does are these things also covered under hyper personalization, or you feel that this is much more of a pure analytics play than anything else?
I would say this is covered in hyper personalization, because again, when we look at our traditional personalization, we are largely reactive. Analytics is also reactive, right? You, something has happened, you capture the data, and then you do analytics on that to understand, okay, this is what has happened, and this is how you are creating those buckets and putting customers into each bucket. With AI, instead of being reactive, we are becoming predictive. AI's ability, we have a vast amount of data, and AI is using to identify those complex patterns and makes probabilistic forecast is what elevates the personalization to this hyper level. So, for example, if a customer is based on the customers' price sensitivity, right? I'm talking about dynamic pricing and promotions. Some of the folks, when they walk into the store, they go straight to the clearance section, because for them, they are always looking for the cheaper things. Some of the folks, they are always want to be in the trend. So they, instead of going all the way to the back to the clearance section, they look at the very first shelf that is out the front of the store, because those are the new items that have been introduced. So AI can analyze customers' price sensitivity and their likelihood to convert, and then real-time inventory levels to offer personalized discounts or promotions, dynamically adjusting to maximize conversion and margin for that specific individual, right? So your loyal customers probably can get slightly better deal on an item they have viewed multiple times. Another example could be like your next best offer, right? Usually when we go to a website, most of the time we are scrolling through different things, right? So what AI can do is AI can look at your surfing pattern and then decide the next best offer to present to you based on your query, what you are searching on the website, and your historical data, making that interaction far more efficient and satisfying. So these are the two things that are just coming up in mind, but there are other scenarios as well. I think I have probably noted down five in my newsletter. I don't remember all of them, but these two are very frequent when that comes into my mind.
Perfect. That's interesting, right? And I was coming to the next part of AI piece, which typically is what we call human in the loop, right? I'm personally a strong advocate of AI plus human capabilities to kind of elevate the response, right? Or the elevate the result or the end result. Do you feel the idea of human coupled with AI will probably be a game changer in hyper personalization? And if yes, probably can you give one example that kind of makes sense with this aspect?
Yes, I mean, for me personally, I do not advocate that AI is supposed to take decisions. The only and sole purpose of AI should be to provide us suggestions, and the human is going to take the final call on those suggestions. So the human in the loop concept that you are talking about is absolutely critical, and especially in hyper personalization. While AI is very good at numbers, identifying patterns and making predictions, one big thing that separates human and machine is the empathy, understanding the emotions, and the ethical judgment that humans possess, but machine cannot. When I see this human in the loop design with hyper personalization, for example, let's say learning and adoption, right? When AI usually start with you give them an algorithm. This is how you should process the data and provide me predictions. But when a prediction has been made to a customer, and let's say he overrides it, customer AI makes a prediction, okay, based on the data that I have, based on your browsing history, etc., I think you're gonna like this item. And then the customer that we have, he said, no, I do not like it. That's a data point that
Got
becomes
it. Got it.
invaluable for retraining and refining that model. So, and it eventually becomes smarter over the time, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship where human and machine we learn from each other. The other option can be like creative input and content generation, right? While AI can generate personalized message templates, which are truly impactful, it would be emotionally resonant, but it often comes with human marketers and copywriters. So humans infuse brand personality and storytelling that AI can then adapt and distribute. So, like I said, this symbiotic relationship. So AI is making the predictions, providing the suggestions, and is the human that is applying the emotions, empathy, and ethical judgment, and then taking the actual decision on those suggestions.
That's interesting, and you bring out a good point because I was speaking with a director technology a couple of months back into the same fashion apparel space,
Mhm.
and what he was mentioning is along with the offers, right, which you spoke about, along with the messages that you spoke about, even product descriptions are now getting hyper personalized, wherein the companies are generating maybe not one version but hundreds of different versions of the same product, and based on who's logged in or who's viewing the product, presenting the right sort of option or the correct sort of or the
Right.
most relevant sort of product description for that person. Say for example, if a person is perceived to be much more cost sensitive,
Mm.
then probably the product description for that person will change than a person perceived to be much more inclined towards color, for example.
Right.
So that also, along with the messaging or along with the offers, even product descriptions are now becoming much more hyper
True.
personalized. Uh,
True.
you spoke about real time in your
Hmm.
last response, right? Which is based on the current inventory level, based on the customer's profile. Now, at real time, systems are able to generate that right sort of an offer, whether it is in store or whether it is online. Do you feel with this latest advancements of AI and real-time analytics, uh,
Hmm.
companies are looking at traditional metrics in a different way? Because traditional metrics were typically much more, I would say, non-real time, and they were over a period of time. And has the perception of looking at these metrics, the traditional ones, being changed from a company's perspective, from a leadership perspective?
The the results for retailers who have adopted hyper personalization, the KPIs are transformative. While the numbers vary by industry, and I have not been in all the industries, so I cannot speak about all of them. But yes, some of the things that have definitely improved, which are in common across almost all the industries, they are changing a little bit, but not at the a lot, because to be very honest, we are currently transforming from our traditional way of doing and bringing AI into our world. While we have started that journey, not everybody has up to that level, and I think it's probably gonna take next at least between 5 to 10 years to be like almost everybody has is using AI and in almost all the segments. Then over the period of time, those KPIs are gonna change, but not as of now. But some of the things that they all are gonna notice, and who have already started leveraging AI, they have seen it, like from customer perspective, your increased revenue and conversion rate, right? When you are giving the personalized offers to the customers, your revenue growth has been between 5 to 15%. And this is not just me talking. These are the reports from McKinsey and Accenture itself. So I'm talking from what they have already done the study and published it. The other thing that will increase is your customer lifetime value. In retail, we call it CLTV. So over the period of time, how much value customer is bringing, or we are providing the value to the customer. So when we are providing the personalized offers to the customer, they become loyal and they repeat their purchases, which means customers spend more with the brand over their lifetime, and companies with strong personalization capabilities see higher retention rates as well. With higher retention rates, you see increase in higher engagement rates as well, right? Your
Mhm.
marketing contents that you are sending, whether it's emails or app notification or SMS, or even the pop-ups on the website, they are very personalized to that specific customer. So they are higher rates of opening those emails or pop-ups, click-through rates, overall engagement increases. So with your high CLTV, you see engagement rates
Yeah.
is increasing as well. With all these, you get to handle your inventory better as well. Inventory is the biggest piece for all the retailers. Handling inventory has always been a tough task, but with hyper personalization in place, you can accurately predict individual customer demand, their trends, and then accordingly retailers can optimize inventory, reducing over stock situations or stock outs as
Understood.
well,
Yeah.
which can lead to less waste and better cash flow.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? It's not just the consumer side of things, right? It's also the operation side of thing where this comes into picture, which I believe at this point of time, they are much more focusing on the operation side as well to optimize and reduce a lot of cost on the supply chain side as well. That's interesting. It was great having you on the podcast, Uttam. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thanks for inviting me. It was good talking to you as well, and thanks for those asking questions. Those were very impactful.